Given that CD sales and streaming are easy to rig at this point, what data can we use that is unquestionably and undeniably accurate in measuring an act's success? There are 8 actually. However, before I proceed, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification button. I will really appreciate it. Before we get into the answer, let's understand some things. There are different successes we can measure: musical success, artistic merit, overall brand value. Most of the time, the artists that sell the most aren't necessarily the best. Artistic merit is hard to measure because it's relative. What I consider to be artistic may not be artistic to you. We can discuss the chord progression, compression of vocals, uniqueness of arrangement, irony of melody and lyrics all day, but if it doesn't affect you, none of that would matter. So let's do this instead. I will go through some of the ways we can measure any of these things: musical success, brand value, and artistic merit. I will also try to focus on those that we can actually quantify. Remember that numbers don't lie, but they are easy to be taken out of context and misinterpret. Number 1, TV ratings. First, let's understand how TV ratings are computed. There are 2 TV ratings we watch out for: free TV and OTT. OTT is film and TV content over the internet across many different devices without the need for traditional broadcast, cable, or satellite pay TV providers. Examples are Netflix and Hulu. OTT is easier to measure as these services can actually track what you are watching, when, and for how long. It can even identify who is watching through the profiles that you use. Free TV viewership is tracked through physical devices installed in individual households. Research companies like Nielsen install these extra boxes. These figures are then added to the figures produced by all other boxes and computed into the viewing figures. It is the equivalent of an opinion poll when perhaps 1,000 people are approached for an opinion. In the US, they said there are more than 40,000 devices. I know it seems a fairly small sampling considering US households they reported with televisions have reached 125 million. But they choose people based on their ability to represent varied populations. So for example, Nielsen might choose a household with adults and children of multiple genders and age groups to better represent more viewers. So unless you're able to duplicate these devices or hack the system of a streaming platform, you won't be able to manipulate the numbers. The only way those numbers may be manipulated is if the research company or the streaming service manipulate it themselves. That will be bad for business, but possible. But they base many of their business decisions on the analytics that they actually get. The weakest point is the margin of error. Especially for free TV, any statistical formula has a margin of error. Your sample may represent 95% of the market. That gives you 5% margin of error. So you have 5% of inaccuracy. Number 2, but on those seats. Concert or show attendance. But as commenter Bang Luna accurately described it, butts on those seats is also a more accurate measure of someone's success. So if those venues are getting sold out, that's a great representation of how popular an act actually is. The larger the venue, the better. Yes, there are fans that buy multiple tickets, but not as much as they buy multiple copies of a CD. Fans are less likely to buy multiple tickets because they don't get anything tangible in return if they are unable to use it. When they buy a CD, they get photo cards and other things that they can actually resell and make money out of it. There are very few artists that sell out tickets in gigantic stadiums like Wembley within hours of release. Now, be careful with those figures that company releases. These figures are sometimes manipulated by the company. They actually are inflated to make the numbers look bigger and make the act look bigger than they actually are. It is also not unheard of for some companies to buy the tickets of their own act and resell them. They create the demand, they fake it till they make it, and sometimes it does work. However, it also happens that scalpers buy tickets and try to resell them for exorbitant prices. The problem is that when it doesn't sell, then it doesn't represent the success of the group because the tickets were bought so people can make money and not to really support the act. Number 3, fan club membership. Now, there's a disclaimer. Not all artists have official fan clubs, and it's easy to understand why, especially in the US. Number 1, you have to be devoted, a very, very devoted fan to be a member of a fan club, because there's really nothing that you do but to actually support the group. Usually what you get is first dibs in buying concert tickets, so basically you spend to be the first to spend on concerts. Sure, some agencies actually offer like exclusive merchandise, but those are often just bonuses instead of the actual value of your money. Next is that in the US, being a member of a club for a celebrity is considered low class, and that's why labels or management companies don't really create fan clubs for their artists. Linkin Park actually did have one, but they're never the ones to care for what elitists will say. Now, do know that there are still some fans that actually get multiple memberships because it increases their chance of getting a ticket, or if there's any exclusive events or exclusive merchandise, they have multiple devices with multiple unique logins. But of course, it's not like they're going to get hundreds and hundreds of it, the way that they do with CDs. Number 4, licensing. Licensing involves obtaining permission from a company to manufacture and sell one or more of its products within a defined market area. The company that obtains these rights usually agrees to pay a royalty fee to the original owner. So naturally, if there are more companies requesting for licenses or they are renewing their license, it means that they are selling the products that they are creating under the image of this act. And that only proves the group's pull or market power. Number 5, merchandise sale. It doesn't count towards the charts, and music-related companies and shows don't really care for them. So if an act's merchandise keep on selling, then it talks of nothing but the amount of supporting quantity of people supporting an act. They do it for no other reason than their devotion to the act. So you can say that this is proof of their influence on a certain industry. Number 6, endorsements. Endorsements and or ambassadors represent a brand or a product of a brand. I will do another video explaining exactly what ambassadors do. Essentially, if a brand gets a celebrity as their ambassador or endorser, better yet face of the brand, that means they believe you can influence the image and in some occasions the sales of the brand. And yes, there are ways a brand is able to measure how you affect their brand. If they get you, at the very least, they think you can get them some free media coverage and you are consistent with the image of the brand. At best, they know that you can actually increase their sales. Number 7 is longevity. I think that there are many songs that actually do great in the first or second week, but most of the time they actually free fall, and that only means that the streaming is actually organized and this is financed, and on the third week they're actually running out of funds. So if the song actually maintains their leadership, they continue to be streamed, it only goes to show that these songs actually do have the support and it's actually liked by the public. The problem with this is that there are seasons when the music industry is slow. So songs can actually stay on top long because there isn't any competition. Number 8 is consistency. You can't be a one-hit wonder. It's like Kobe Bryant showing up for only 4 games. Of course, it's going to pull good numbers, but it doesn't really prove that they are consistent. You have to continue coming up with work and continue to garner consistent or growing numbers. If you sold 1 million albums the one time you released an album, that's not better than the 50,000 albums someone else sold each of the 10 times they released an album. One is a one-hit wonder, and then the other has a consistent following who believes in their music, and the other had one good release. Now, just something important. Streaming and sales are still really good measures of an act's success, but as we all know, those are pretty easy to rig. Billboard and other platforms haven't really gotten their acts together to fix the way that they count it. And that's it. I hope you learned something. As marketers and as brands, we don't just look at specific numbers. We actually try to get a complete picture. We try to really dig deeper and understand the entire story. And these measures are some of the most valuable measures that we look into in deciding the impact or influence or popularity of an act. Yeah, if you please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. If you have any suggestions of in terms of topics that you want me to cover, or you have comments or violent reactions, leave them below. And thank you.